Good evening and welcome to the studio this evening. And tonight will be a little bit of pyrography. Wood burning. Well, there's no burning going on. Fire writing. We're not using fire and we're not writing. So, painting with heat. So a little bit of prep work on this piece of wood. Just to remove the fine wood hairs, wood fibres off the surface. Guess I ought to just sand the edges a little bit as well. My blank has a little bit of sharp edge on it, so yeah, then I suppose the decision at this point is what colour to do this. I could do a sort of a gingery cat, or I could do a black and white cat. I'm not sure. Right, well, let's get rid of the sawdust. Fluffy twiglet. You notice then? I didn't think it was that obvious, you know. So how have you been? How's Christmas been for you? Right, clear the desk. So, pencil. Now then. Side on. Pussycat side on. Not really going to see much actually in the way of features. I don't see the actually it doesn't even do that. Eraser. It doesn't curve up, it goes straight. So before I make a mistake, it literally just goes across to about there. We'll give him a bit of a black nose, I think. And I may do his ears pointing outwards, I may not. Because of the way they're shaped like that, it's kind of, instead of them being cupped forward, he's kind of got them, or she's got them cupped to one side, so we might do a dark inside on that. But otherwise, you're not going to see the eyes because they're side on, really. So it's just a pattern, really, fur pattern. And we can just have fun with a fur pattern because it doesn't have to be realistic in any shape or form. Why do I have a USB charge lead here? Oh, yeah, Creopop. 3D pen. So let's just put the mouth in. We'll do both sides. This will work better if I turn it on. And I'm not bothered about the pencil mark. Because I'm going to make a darker mark with the pen. If I was doing shading, I'd want to erase the pencil mark first. And I'm going to make no attempt to do anything on the edge of the wood. Well, I might change my mind, but we shall see. Right, so that's probably the last time I'll need that pen. So we'll switch to the other one. So, I can do black and white. I'm trying to think what a natural black and white cat looks like. Generally speaking, a black and white cat is either largely black or largely white, without any patterns. Sort of tabbies that tend to be more patch. So maybe we do something a little bit. Yeah, maybe we do something a little bit more tabby-like, sort of, or patchwork-like. Which means I can be quite random about it, and I can get any colour from white through to completely black, really. So, I've got a blank piece of wood on me. It doesn't matter what colour I put down where. I've got a hot pyrograph pen. I'm looking at it going, where do I start? Which is really totally silly, because I can start anywhere. I just need to put the pen down, but sometimes that's the hardest part, is getting started, putting the pen down. Not too bad, Fluffy Twiggler. It was an interesting time coming up to Christmas with work. See how that goes when I go back to work, but it may affect streaming, but otherwise it's been okay over Christmas. It's been a fun time. We're going to get a visit, so I'm going to put the pen down while the visitor arrives, just because, in fact I'll turn it off because it's a hot pen. You cannot get down the back of there. The visitor will appear on camera about now. Hello. Is it because I mentioned a pussycat you're coming to see? You're going to come and settle down here then? Shall we lift you off the table and put you just down there? That, although you may not have recognised him, was Junior, who's been outside because his fur's damp. You can settle down. I can't stroke you. And you can't really, well you can, you're going back on the desk. Do not go over the keyboard. Excuse me, let me just move him. You want to go there, but the keyboard isn't safe. Where the keyboard is positioned, if it walked on it, it would have slid off the desk along with a lot of other things, which I didn't want to happen, so. He was looking to go somewhere. Why don't you go check out what I have for tea, pussycat? Junior is a cat that likes curry. believe it or not. And we've had some cats with some different tastes. Junior likes curries. We had a cat called Mindy that used to like the batter on fish, and Maui, who liked the fish without the batter, which is quite convenient because those two live together, so they could share a fish between them and not squabble over it. One would have the batter, one would have the fish. Junior likes curries. He's getting quite vocal these days, aren't you? You're not going to do it now, are you? Yeah. Oh no, that persuaded him to try and come back. Come on then. You've got to settle down. These people would probably prefer to watch you than me, I guess, but no, settle down doesn't mean sit on the desk. It means sit on my knee. And lay down. Lay down, that's it. Lay down. I see, here he is. Now then, are you going to settle down and stay down? No, I can't stroke. Either lay down. Yes, I know you're looking at me, but you can either lay down or you can get down. This may be fun. As you will have known, those of you who have watched me before, pyrographing with a pussycat. Yes, even a cute pussycat like you is quite difficult. We shall see. So, I've started. I've put pen to wood. And I'm going to need more heat than so I'm just going to go with surface colouring here. I'm not going to try and put a pattern or not going to try and put a texture on the wood. You can just see Junior's ears there. He's watching what I'm doing at the moment. Not the most convenient place to have a pussycat. One of our other cats that we used to have a while ago would sit on my shoulder. So he'd literally sit on one of my shoulders, which would have been quite convenient for streaming. Having a cat just there. Would it sit there for hours? So Junior has just left. I suspect that's food. He was looking maybe to see, because Lady Zara just walked out of the room. So Junior was probably thinking that might involve food. He's wrong, but you'll find that out shortly. So I can do anything I like. When you can do anything you like, it's really hard to do anything you like in terms of a pattern. Don't know if anybody doodles. If you ever doodle, then sometimes it can be really hard to doodle because you keep doing the same thing again and again and again, and Okay, that is one aspect of doodling, but another one is sort of just a random pattern. Ever try doing something random? Not the easiest thing in the world. And of course that's kind of what I'm looking to do here now, so I'm just going to see what happens. And one of the nice things about this though is that if I get little black marks, or I get, a smooth colour, or it's a tabby cat, it can be anything. Oh, I thought something fell off. Right, one of these days I'm going to get a new chair. Won't be for a while yet, but this. When did I get this one from? Maybe IKEA, but the seat cushion is not collapsed. It's worn out basically. I've sat on it that much, and I have to keep moving. So what I think I'm gonna do is try out try out. They're expensive to try out, but one of those game chairs that you've seen people playing games sat on streams. I forget what they're called now. But I'm going to try one of those. I know there's two different makes, so I'm going to have to look into it, but that'll be next year. Can't afford it at the moment. But try out one of those. They're supposed to be based on rally seats out of rally cars, so they should have quite good seat cushions. Why is the music gone quiet? Because it's crashed. Ah, dear. Media Player is not the most reliable of programs these days, but actually it's better than the other one that comes with Windows 10. You're back, are you, Junior? You're going to have to sit on my knee again. You can smell the wood burning, can you? I say wood burning, it's not actually burning, of course. He's going to try and come on my knee. Let me just see if I can sort him out. Are you going to sit there, or are you going to come sit on my knee? You coming here? Thought you might. Yeah, that's a television camera. Hello. Don't I'm going to say, don't cats look cute when they sort of look up at you and go nose to nose, but you can't see it. Come on. Yes, I know. At one time I could not. Well, I could have done, but I wouldn't dare have done what I just did, which was pick him up under his tummy. That would have been an instant bite. This cat has got a lot calmer, more domesticated. Yeah, a domesticated pussycat. it feels quite odd in a way doing this, because usually, of course, the pyrography that you've seen me do has been sort of pictures, and I must finish the lion at some point. Has been pictures, and of course I'm creating shades to make the shapes that you see. Of course, here I'm not really interested a great deal in the. I will do a little bit of shading on it, but mostly this is just colouring in, which is kind of unusual for me. So I'm going to create a little bit of a about there. Do about there. We'll just create a darker area in here, just sort of like behind the front paw. Now I'm using this tool fairly cool. I'm actually using it probably too cool, but I'm messing with details again, so forget that for the minute. So what should we do? Let's have I was going to do sort of stripe things, but I'm not sure. Nah. We'll give him white feet. Or her. There are times when actually having a pen, you generally will cool a pen down because it takes colours slower. But sometimes actually that can be counterproductive, because you can end up holding the pen in one place for too long, and it gets really dark, because it's kind of like now the colour just is taking its time to develop, so you have a tendency to hold it in one place too long and it goes dark, and I don't actually want this bit dark. I want that line to show up. So this is one of those circumstances where sometimes having the pen hotter actually helps rather than makes it more difficult. Now for once Junior has been quite good. He's just laid here on my knee. He's not bothered by the fact that my arm is resting on him. If it wasn't for the fact that it would probably be quite a boring image if I did Junior or Felix here on, I could sort of do their fur pattern, but largely speaking both Junior and Felix are all black, insofar as fact that Felix is a really dark brown, but their fur pattern is basically just black with a little bit of white generally around their nose and white feet. Quite often black and white cats have white feet. Yes, I was talking about hello. Yeah. Turn this heat up a bit. You know, it doesn't matter. What? Which for some silly reason reminds me Lady Zara's walked off with my pen. You're going to settle down that way then? No, that's it, move your tail out of the way. And let me get the pen out from around you. There we go. Yes, you're gorgeous. I'm actually wondering if I should switch pens. Do my other shader. Let's try this one out. Oh, blimey. That pen's loose. That wants adjusting. Hello. Now this I know needs more heat, does this pen? And this is a different shaped shader pen. Go back on the 11th. I go back on the 5th. Yeah, it's always a good idea to keep in practice, but good ideas and actual fact, not always the same thing. So what's happening this term then, Fluffy Twiggler? See, I only ever draw in one style, and it's my style. No good with styles. Well, actually, no, I'll strike that. It depends what you mean by styles, but because there's like styles of pyrography, for example, where you've got pure black and white. You've got what I generally describe as cartoon style, which is outline everything and then fill in between the lines. And then there's pure shade photographic style, which is pure shading. And if you're talking about that sort of style, then yeah. If you're talking about sort of impressionistic style or anything like that, then I just do whatever. Oh yes, that's when you started last term, wasn't it? See, comic book is not my sort of not really my sort of style. Yeah, I guess we talked about style. Not sure I've actually found a style as such, but it's definitely towards the more realistic edge. When I do, it will be. One of the techniques that I'm just doing here is by moving the tool around like this in a semicircular or circular pattern. It tends to smooth out the transitions, so you get soft edges. And it's sometimes easier to create a full block of colour by doing this than it is to try and do it in neat lines. Style meaning techniques and mediums. Okay, yeah. Yeah, mediums I agree with. He says pyrography, Julie, yeah, they're bushing. Plenty of mediums. I do tend to try and treat most of them the same though. Now this is about as close as I usually get to wood burning, and I'm not actually sure whether what comes, well, I'm partially sure that what comes off is not actually smoke, it's more akin to steam, but steam with a smell. Coyote Dancer, good evening. You should have been around last night. Where were you last night? I'm sure you would have been very interested in what I was doing on stream last night. Ah, I wish I'd known. If I'd known that, I'd have postponed it till this evening. There is a VOD being recorded, of course, and I will put a time lapse up on YouTube later tonight. But I was making 6.5-inch bracelet last night. Yes, ah. You know, the long version's still on Twitch, of course, and the short version, as I say, after the stream tonight, I will upload a short version to YouTube. But for the minute, this is just sort of a patchwork tabby cat. Yeah, what would probably be a better idea? Yeah. One of these days I'm going to take the top off that control unit and see just what it is. That's causing one of those LEDs to flicker. You were watching last night, weren't you, Fluffy Twiglet? You'd know what I did last night on stream. Plus, I'm not sure everybody's as fascinated by trains as you are, Fluffy Twiglet. Tell you what, Fluffy, just for you, my next Pyrograph project, I'll make a train for you. Should be about 40 or 50 hours of work. What I'm basically doing now is just making a background colour. Just a very light sort of, it's just a very light brown, but just to act as a background. And then I'll do some shading, more patchwork on top of it. It's easier to add colour on top than it is to take away, so. You see, you've gone about it too much and I might think you really did like them, Fluffy Twiggler. It is a little bit like that, Kaya Dancer. It's a bit easier to it's a bit easier to sort of go over. I'm not being too careful about it, but it's a bit easier to go all over, and then apply a darker patches on top, just from the point of view of you don't get white gaps in between, and it means I can actually then also turn up the heat on the tool a little bit, because I'm running it quite cool for this particular tool. It's not quite like underpainting, but sort of similar. Indeed. He's doing an important job. Leave Moobot alone. Well, he does two important jobs. That's one of them. Actually, that just reminded me. I was about to say, you want to get worried if he actually answers you back, but then I remembered Free telling us, a story about how on Lost in Houses channel, Free was somehow talking to Moobot via a different mechanism, or getting Moobot to respond. So somebody would say something like that to Moobot, and Moobot would reply because Free was driving it, and he was actually talking back. So it wasn't. People were getting really confused because, of course, they were getting not canned responses, but actual, real conversation with Moobot. It was quite funny. I think that was kind of the effect that that he managed to get. Yeah, hemp rope gets in the way. Of course, something like, just go away. You could get him to respond, but it would be I can't remember what Free was saying, but it'd be things like somebody says, and Wilbur would go, "No, why should I? Why do you think I should go away?" And they'd say something, and he'd actually come back and say, "I don't like that idea," Trent, good evening. Welcome back. Nice to see you in the studio again. It wasn't too bad, thank you very much, Trenta. I hope you had a good Christmas also. Yes, it's almost like the pyrographic equivalent of doodling in a way. Not sure I like it, but oh, is UK Dig. Thank you very much. I was thinking it looked a bit like a paint palette gone a little bit wrong, but dear. Yeah, in a way, Moobot does kind of live around here. Yeah, of course. It's a bit late now, but yeah. Moobot kind of knows who's been naughty and nice, doesn't he? So, or she. Would have been interesting came up to Christmas, wouldn't it? Don't be naughty or I won't bring you presents. Oh, now you know she's pretending to be Moobot. Yeah, moonlighting as Moobot. One of the things about pyrography, if you wanted to do photographic style or photorealism style of pyrography, is the smoother the wood, the better. If it's got any sort of grain structure in it, you get, as this one kind of has, you get little dark and lighter bits that you don't always want. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, ASUK Dig, but sometimes it's the best thing. Well, that's Junior gone for a walk. See what it looks odd, that is because that edge is a little bit hard. Indeed they are. Most animals are though, ASUK dig. Okay, now turn it over and do the other side. So this time, let's just colour in a lot of it. Light and brown. Often when I'm pyrographing, I will often, especially on white wood, I will often apply a pyrograph all over, even the areas that want to be white. Sometimes the white wood on its own is actually too white. And because generally speaking, obviously pyrography is brown. It's a bit like a sepia painting. Oh, sorry, a photograph, an old photograph. The white areas are also, a brown colour as well, and the black obviously is a darker brown. It sort of compresses the range. So having uncoloured wood when you're doing some pyrographic styles like photorealism, it doesn't actually look right to have uncoloured wood. So I will often just go over the whole piece, or the bits that I've left white, and just apply a really light colour. Now, one of the things that's happening here is I'm effectively ironing the wood. I can visibly see the wood smoothing out as I go over this, which makes it shiny. It's one of the reasons why pyrography often looks shiny. Part of it is the resin which is cooked on the surface, which is shiny itself, but partly is you're actually ironing out the creases. which makes the wood a lot smoother, and being smoother it reflects the light more, therefore it looks shiny. Thank you, ISUK Dig. This is just sort of a fun piece, really, because it's not it's not fantastically shaded in any, you know, it's just purely randomly coloured. You can't actually see that on camera. Actually you can, just there you can see how this bit here, which I haven't yet gone over with the pyrographic tool, is sort of dull, and the bit above it is shiny. Yeah, there is indeed. Moobot's been saying that for about the past week. You see, those of you there complaining about Moobot, and he was telling you something you didn't know. Right, this is not really applying any colour at all. It's it's an extremely pale colour that's being applied here, but I am almost just ironing the surface at the moment. What I'll now do is, if I now go over it, I'll actually get a slightly better application of colour. Marie, good evening. I did indeed, thank you very much. I can't feel it. That's the odd thing about hair, it doesn't feel anything. But thanks for noticing. It's kind of obvious, I guess. Just finding the time to get it done, and today was just a convenient time. I happened to be out and past the place, so I got it cut. Art? What about art? Apart from the fact it's part of my name. The problem with this particular shader is the heel of it does get quite hot, especially if I'm using it as I am now with the toe down on the wood, and if you accidentally catch the back you get that mark. Actually, which reminds me, talking about just well, yeah. Fair enough, yes, just out. It's surprising when you first go over this, as I did, you kind of look at that and look at the whole piece, and you go, it's not got any colour. But now, when you've got to put a bit, when you've got a bit of colour on, you look at this centre section here, and it's not as white as it was. Your eyes adjust to colour surprisingly quickly and very strange way sometimes, in the way in which colour is seen. Your eyes got a really good, or your eye and brain together, I guess, have got a really good way in which you can see colour even when the colour technically sort of doesn't exist. It's like if you like dark streets with street lights which are orange, they're a sodium lamp, if they still have them. And yet you can still see colours, which in theory you shouldn't really be able to see. You can still recognise colour even though it's late. You know, white you can see as white even though it shows up orange, for example. You can always tell it's white. It's a real weird thing that your eye has and your brain has, of being able to recognise colours even when in theory it shouldn't be able to do so. I say in theory because there are theories as to how you do it, but a lot of it seems to be almost colour contrast. It's not the absolute colour, but it's the colour that you see compared to other colours around, that where you know what the colours are. So if something is on grass, for example, you know that grass is green, therefore you see it as a difference to green, which you know, and therefore you can see what colour it is. It's only when you actually haven't got the ability to make that colour comparison with something else that your eye actually gets fooled. And I keep saying eye because it's your brain that does the work, of course. And that was the situation with that dress on the internet. Your colour contrast depended on what you thought the other colours around were. And to some extent you get the same thing with pyrography. You can change the colour of something depending on what colour there is next to it. Monochrome airbrushing is the same as well. If you do white on black, there are times when the white paint that you put on looks black on a black background, which you can see the black on the black background, but it's white paint you've used. It's an interesting phenomenon. Turkey, good evening. I take it you didn't enjoy Christmas. Or maybe you did, you're still here. So let's put some more different colour on here. Actually, let's also do Is Felix back? No. Well, Felix is around. Actually, he's not around. Junior was on stream earlier tonight, not Felix. Felix does... Have you said which? Actually, I was about to say he's not often around. He has been quite a bit over Christmas. He even was sat on my knee yesterday. Which is kind of unusual for him, but no, he's not around at the moment. Oh no, Junior. Yeah, no, he's actually laid on the computer. The computer's at the end of the desk. He's got a vent in the top of the computer. The fans are turned off because it's not hot enough in the case, but there is obviously warm air rising, so he lays tummy down, obviously, right across the vent, so he gets a nice warm tummy. So actually, Felix likes that as well. He lays in exactly the same position. One wet and one. Thank you very much. This is kind of more of a doodling, but thank you. Fortunately, lighting when you're doing pyrography is, or lighting when you're doing pyrography on stream is a bit challenging because it's reflective. So in a position like that, I can hardly see what it is I'm actually doing, but so Junior will probably stay there unless something actually, if I sneeze for example, he'll probably sort of perk up a little bit and he may come back, but I'm not about to start trying to sneeze. Certain sounds, probably high-pitched ones, sort of, that generally makes him squeak, and when he squeaks he tends to sit up and have a look around, and that's the point at which he probably would decide to come back over. Actually, amongst the, whilst there's a lot of jewellery on the on that picture roll that's running on the left hand side, and most of that jewellery, in fact all of that jewellery, is actually available in the shop. You will see some of the other arts and crafts on there as well. You will see some pyrography on there. All of those pictures of actually all the things you see there have been done on stream. But you will see some pyrography there, which is a different style to this. Amongst some of the other crafts like the scraper board and the punch craft of trains, and there's some carving on there as well. Don't quite feel the inspiration to do carving at the moment, otherwise I'd have a go at that, but maybe at some point in the new year, if I can find or think of a subject I'd like to carve. I don't know, maybe a nice train. Okay, Fluffy Twiggler, have a good evening. You learn your tools, that back edge here, and I'm being really careful not to touch it. This back edge here of this tool is the hottest part of this particular tool. This edge here is the coolest one for some reason. So things, if I want to get really dark, if I use the back edge here like that, it gets really dark, and you have to be a little bit careful. But just learning how your tools work, sometimes you can get better. You can get better effects Actually, and whilst I was just pointing out the photographs in the bottom left, which as I say were all done from the stream, it just reminds me, of course, as well as Moobot popping up the odd advert, just remind people if you like what you're seeing, and you're seeing not only what I'm doing but some of the other things that I do as well, then push the follow button and you'll get notified when I go live again. That's assuming you've taken the option when you do so to be notified, but I of course would recommend that you did that, but I'm the one that's streaming, so I would. Quite strange to be doing something where there's no actual pattern that I'm following. I'm just doing bits where I feel like I happen to want to do a little bit of colouring. It's a bit odd, really. One of the other things one of the things you have to be careful about with pyrography, when you're in for the darker colours, the one thing you have to remember is that the wood shrinks, and it makes it really easy to get tooling marks at the edges of the tool, creating indentations actually in the wood. So if that's something that you don't intend, you have to work quite hard actually to be able to colour the wood without actually creating those indentations. Of course, if you want them, because you creating texture, as I have done with some of the other pussycat pictures, then it can be very useful. But not creating tooling marks and getting consistent colouring are the two hard skills in pyrography. And it really is just lots and lots of practice, of which I've not had enough. Thank you, Carrot Dancer. Yeah, well, it does kind of add to it. It saves you work. No, doesn't make a lot of difference actually, Carrot Dancer. There is a marginal thing, but wood actually is a good insulator. It's one reason why they make houses, or made houses out of it, log cabins as well, as it just being an abundant material. But it's a really good insulator. So it doesn't conduct the heat away too much. It stays quite close to the surface. So yes, if I apply heat, I can, to a place in an area like this, the heat does eventually work its way through to the back, and I can feel it. And sometimes if I'm continue working in that area, it can get uncomfortable, shall we say. But generally speaking, no, the thickness of the wood makes very little difference. The different types of wood make a difference. So wood where there's not quite as much sap in the wood, or drier wood, you need more heat to actually cause the colour. Where there's a lot of sap, because it's like boiling water, the more water you have, the longer it takes to boil. But dry wood, because what you're actually doing mainly is cooking the sap. So if there's little sap there, you've kind of got to apply more heat to cook what is there, or to draw it up from underneath. So the thin, thick, not a lot of difference. Yes, I know exactly. Well, I know exactly what type of wood it is. I know exactly what that wood is and that wood is. This is a plywood, and I know what the two facing sheets are. It's birch plywood, which is essentially a white colour, slightly off white, but it's a white colour. There's only, I think, poplar is whiter, but I haven't come across any wood that's even whiter than that yet. Not that you can get. And the reason this plywood, and this is what, 1, 2, this is 5 ply. You can actually count the layers. The reason for using plywood is when you apply heat to wood, apply heat on this side and drying out this side, it shrinks. And so wood has a tendency, if I apply heat on this side, for it to warp like that, which is why things, you leave a sheet of wood in the sunlight, it tends to buckle and warp, because one side dries out more than the other. But with plywood, the way in which they construct plywood is specifically, and the more higher quality the plywood, the better it is at doing it. They sandwich the thin sheets together in such a way as to actually resist that. So what you've got is like the grains running vertically here, the sheet underneath it will run horizontally, and so what tends to happen then is the sheet that's underneath, this wants to warp this way, but this one wants to warp the opposite way, and it tends, and when you do it over 3 or 5 layers, it tends to keep it dimensionally stable. So that's one reason why I use plywood more than I'll use solid wood. If I use solid wood this thick, might not be too bad, but generally speaking, if I use solid wood this thick, it would actually curl and warp. and this one actually has warped a little bit, but not noticeably. On the bigger sheets that they do, it basically doesn't warp at all. Yeah, I've purposely left that really white little one on the other side as well. And because I've been talking, I've this pen heated up. But I was kind of expecting it, so. When I do something like this, that the painting with heat bit really sort of sticks, because of course as I move the pen I'm leaving behind this dark line. I'm literally painting with heat. Yeah, birch plywood. You can get poplar plywood, as I say, which is white and has very similar properties. It's slightly lighter. I have a couple of sheets to try out. It's not something I've done much with, mainly because I've got a lot of pre-cut plywood. But basswood is something I actually haven't tried pyrographing with. European lime. I have not come across any thin sheets of it, because I mainly do images rather than pyrographing things. So the basswood I tend to carve. It's great for carving, and I can imagine it's, being a fairly light wood, close grained. It is relatively good for pyrography as well. But yeah, pine. Pine's really hard to pyrograph. It does really nice colours, but it's kind of why it's also a little bit hard to carve. But you can clearly on pine you can usually see the rings and the between rings material of the wood, and the rings are really, relatively speaking, this is hard, and the stuff between it is relatively soft, which is kind of a problem when you're carving. But when you apply heat to it from a pyrograph tool, the ring bit doesn't take much colour. It takes a long time. It's really hard. Takes a lot of heat. Yet the soft material takes colour really quickly and shrinks away. So you get sort of black, white, black, white, black, white if you're not careful. And you've got to work really hard to then colour the lighter areas. But the fact that it shrinks away, you end up with like lots of peaks and troughs, so it looks quite a rough and odd surface then. Mr. Aristo, hello. I'm just going to take the edge off of this. It's the quite like the wide effect, but the sharp edge just makes it look a little bit wrong. So I'll just apply a little bit of colour around the edge, just soften the edge off, which changes the whole colour. Right. So, there's a tabby pussy cat, a tabby cat pussy. Just patchwork, a patchwork quilt. Just a little bit of fun to play with. I'm not sure. I haven't quite decided whether I like that or not, but it was quite good fun just to do without having any particular pattern or design in mind. Just applying colour whether I felt like it, which is kind of an interesting thing. Not having, not usually doing things like that. Usually I've got a real idea of, you know, the picture that I'm trying to create. Of course, this is one of those things that looks better on camera than it does when I'm this close to it, but when you step back, the edges just soften slightly. Anyway, that's it for tonight. Been broadcasting just, well, not quite 2 hours, but this is done. Don't think I want to do any more on this one. So I'm going to leave it at that point. Pyro Improv. Yeah, indeed, that's exactly it, Coyote Dancer. I am going to remind everybody that might be watching, there is a shop there, jewellery shop. Most of the pictures that you've seen at the bottom left hand corner are items from the shop. They've all been made on stream, and they've gradually I will get the videos up on YouTube, but some of the past ones are still available in the as video on demand out of Twitch. Some of the other things there, like the pyrography and scraper board and other things, are not available in the shop. May well be in the future, but we'll see. But check out the shop. I keep saying shop, but check it out. It's I think it's worth taking a look at. If you're not following, recommend you do so. That way you, if you choose it, will get notified when I go live. You can see me doing any of the things that you've seen in the pictures. Maybe I'll get around to doing some carving again shortly. Sharp knives always seems to interest people. Don't know if it's the thought of maybe seeing blood all over the place, but carving knives seem to fascinate people. I've not cut myself yet, and I don't intend to. So the other way you can follow is on Twitter at @ZaragonArt. I tweet when I go live, occasionally tweet other things to do with art and crafts that I'm doing. And otherwise, I hope to be on tomorrow night. If I am, it'll be from about 8 PM UK time. That's 2000 hours GMT or UTC, they're both the same, or about 2 hours 10 minutes ago. Thank you all for watching. Hope to see you again in the studio in the future. And good night from the UK, West Yorkshire. Bye for now.